Hey, welcome back. Riggs here, and we have been enjoying week after week of Snapshot with new additions coming into 114, and I thought it might be fun to take a look at everything we have so far. Get all the crafting recipes in one place, and I'm going to try to briefly go over everything. Without going into too much detail, so it won't take forever, but I thought it might be fun to kind of take a look at what we have so far, because it's a lot. And so let's get started. And I think the headline for many people would be the pandas. Yeah, they've added pandas to the game, which are super cute. And you can breed them. You breed them using bamboo. The only thing they drop is bamboo. And bamboo is not super rare, so we won't be farming them. That's good. But they do come with different personalities, and some of them are aggressive, so caution with that. And yeah, they also live in the bamboo forest, which is a subtype of jungle and kind of rare. But bamboo is fantastic, so let me show you about that. Yeah, so once you have found a bamboo forest, you can harvest the bamboo just using a sword. It will harvest it instantly, and it's, again, sort of like chorus fruit. I'm in survival here, but it's a really useful crop. So you can see some of it fell into the hopper here, and you can use it directly as a fuel. And it burns pretty quickly, but given the ease of collection, yeah, it's I think a useful fuel. And then it can be used in a crafting recipe here. Just 2 bamboo will make a stick, and then with a little bit of string you get some scaffold. And so let me show you about the scaffold. I have an audience. Alright, and here we have the scaffold, and it's a unique block in many ways. First of all, to make a tower, you can just click on the bottom and it'll add new blocks on top. And then sort of like chorus fruit, to break the tower, you just knock one of the bottom ones, it'll break instantly, and it'll break any of the blocks that are above it. And then in survival, it's useful as a ladder, so you can just hold space and you'll float up through the blocks. And then to use it as a scaffold, you can build bridges just by clicking over. It'll go out 6 blocks before it needs a new support, and it'll automatically do that. See, it's dropping the blocks down until it has a support, and then you can just hold shift to sink down through it. And then when you're done, you just knock it to break it, and you're all cleaned up, and you don't have those floating bits of dirt hanging out when you think you're done your build. Okay, so far we have pandas, bamboo, and scaffold, and then another major headline for me would have to be all of the new stairs and slabs and walls. Wonderful new addition for builders, all the different block types. They've also added new wood types for the signs, which makes a really nice little decorative detail. You can use it as a border like that over there. And then you can also now change the color of the writing using different dyes. By the way, they've changed the dye system, so instead of using bone meal directly, you now have to craft the correct dye. So lapis and ink sacs, now you have to make the correct dye. Just an interesting little detail. And then the lantern has been added, a new light source. Yay! And it looks great. It's a little bit animated. You can hang it from something, has a little chain, or you can place it down on something. Here's the crafting recipe, just iron nuggets. Finally something that uses iron nuggets. You put a torch in the middle, wrap it in iron, and you have a lantern, which looks great. And then a whole bunch of more stuff. Let's look at some of the other things. Yeah, 114 is called the Villager and Pillager update, and we'll get to the pillagers in a second, but all of the villagers have received new skins, and they'll have biome specific skins, but the villages themselves have also received a major upgrade. And so for each biome, desert, savanna, taiga, and the ice regions, and then plains, all have new building designs, and each will use sort of different materials based on what biome they're in, but they are using that as a place to introduce a whole bunch of new crafting blocks. And you might have seen this little setup over here. You won't find this in a village. I built this as a little demonstration area, but yeah, the villages have definitely upgraded, and there are places now where you will find all these new crafting blocks. So let's get into some of these. All right, here we have the Loom, which is a good looking block. Pretty simple crafting recipe, just a couple of string and some wood, and then some items that were added that are associated with that are these patterns. So in the past, to make some of the designs and banners, you would use some of these items, and then the item would be used up. But now with one piece of paper and that item, you can make a pattern, and I'll show you how that's used now. We have that pattern which can be reused. You can put a banner in there with a little bit of dye, and it'll make that pattern, which you would in the past would have used up that item. And then another interesting thing that the Loom does is it gives you all of the other options that would be available, and it only uses one ink to make them. Another interesting thing is that in the past, some of these things would have needed a brick or some vines to make those designs. Now that you don't need them anymore. So it saves ink and makes banner making so much easier. So I think that's great. And next we have the barrel, which is essentially flexible storage. It's a single chest with these 4 different sides that you can get to show. This is the crafting recipe, so it uses slabs on the top and bottom instead. And then the functional difference is, whereas before with chests, if you had a solid block on top of it, you couldn't open that chest. You can with the barrels, which is kind of nice. Also does interact with hoppers, so you can both feed and empty them with hoppers, which is kind of nice. So more storage and just another design detail that you can add to your builds. Yeah, so here's the Campfire, which is a great new lighting source they added with the smoke plumes, which head up 20 blocks if you have a hay bale underneath it, and just 10 blocks if you have just a regular block. Here's the crafting recipe. Just take some sticks. This can be charcoal as well, any kind of log block underneath it. And then you can also block the smoke by putting a solid block in front of the smoke, and which means that with a sticky piston kind of moving it back and forth, you can actually send smoke signals, which people have gotten pretty clever about. And they changed it so that it's a light level of 15, but just a really nicely animated lighting source. And yeah, I think it's great. You know, more lighting sources, the better. All right, you still with me? There's a lot of stuff. All right, how about a quick change of scenery? How about that? And for a change of scenery, I bring you to kind of a unique example of one of the new villages, which definitely improved design with some little booths and little gabled roofs and some of the new cats, the domestic cats. But the reason this one is unique is because it features one of the new outposts, which is extra close to a village. Usually they're not this close to a village, but these outposts will spawn these pillagers. These guys are all giving extra attention to one of these villagers inside the cabin here. But they will spawn within a certain radius of that outpost. Every now and then one of them will have one of these banners, and if you kill that guy, you will get a bad omen debuff. And the next time you walk into a village with that banner, with that debuff, I should say, you will then spawn a raid of pillagers, which will then attack the village, sort of like these guys are doing automatically. But that raid will get progressively harder. Oop! And eventually they will spawn a Ravager, which is this beast. Kind of this crazy thing. I wish you could tame it and ride it. Wouldn't that be the coolest thing ever? But yeah, these guys are pretty cool. Unfortunately, the only thing they drop, I tried making a farm. Oh, here's one of these guys. Let me see if I can get the debuff with you guys. I tried making a farm in survival for one of these outposts, and unfortunately, yeah, there we go. I'm spawning a raid as we speak. Unfortunately, they don't drop anything besides the crossbows when you kill them by hand. So yeah, here sort of charging up a raid. This is going to end badly for the villagers. Sorry, guys. But yeah, you can see one of these new barrels. Some of these new blocks are sort of tucked in among these villages, and yeah, I'm sort of tempted to stay tuned and watch this raid unfold. But oh yeah, here we go. I didn't spawn this guy. Here's one of these beasts that came all by himself. Pretty cool. So yeah, this is definitely a neat little gameplay addition to the game, which I think will be fun to play around with. Yeah, cool. So I mentioned those pillagers drop the crossbow, which is a brand new ranged weapon. Pretty cool. And this is the crafting recipe. Kind of a strange crafting recipe, but it has 3 new enchantments that come along with it. And I have enchanted 3 crossbows to demonstrate, and I have asked a few volunteers to step forward and demonstrate. So piercing does damage in a line. Let's see if I can sort of show that. Yeah, did you see that? It sort of went through the first pig and then into the other pigs behind it. Quick charge is a little faster than that first one. So the way it works is you charge up a shot and then you can shoot it. So you can actually charge up multiple bows. Pretty neat. And then have them ready to go, and you can go boom, boom. Yeah. So, and then the third shot is multi-shot, which does just like it says, 3 shots, boom. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. But I like that. It's a slow weapon, and to be perfectly honest, I'll probably stick with the bow. because infinity kind of wins in my book. But yeah, I like it, and pillagers are fun to play with, so why not? So we also saw the composter out there, and here's the crafting recipe for that. And what this does is it processes crops into bone meal. And so you can add the crop either by hand or with a hopper, and it will process them as it fills up. It'll produce more bone meal. And so you can add all kinds of different crops to it, basically anything you can grow, and some processed foods too. Flowers as well. Good time to mention cornflower, lily of the valley, and wither rose will offer blue, white, and black dye respectively, although this one will only grow when a wither has killed a mob. So good luck farming those. But yeah, this is a great way of processing some of your excess crops into some free bone meal. So why not? I think it's great. And here we have the blast furnace and the smoker, which are essentially faster furnaces, but for specific items. So ore for the blast furnace, there's the crafting recipe there, and meats and fishes for the smoker, that's the crafting recipe there. So faster, but not as flexible, and does interact with hoppers and has a nice animation. So I like it. And here we have a great example of one of the new Savannah villages. Definite improved design choices. Really adds richness to the world, gives you kind of a reason to go explore to find these new villages. So a few subtle but significant changes to survival, one being that a dispenser with shears in it now, when it's activated by redstone, will harvest the sheep, or will shear the sheep. And then also another little thing is vines, even without something in front of them or behind them, can be used as a ladder. So that's kind of neat. Another thing is the flowers to a chorus fruit are now harvestable by, missed on that one, but now harvestable by bow shot, which makes them sort of easier to farm. And last but not least, trees now, or rather leaves, I should say, in survival will now decompose and drop some sticks. I've upped the tick speed; things won't decompose that fast. But yeah, those are some sort of subtle but really neat and significant changes to survival. All right, you still with me? We're getting there. Just a few more blocks here. We have the stone cutter. So what this does, it shows you what recipes are available for all these blocks that you can make other blocks out of. So when you put stone in there, for instance, it'll show you all the recipes that are available for that. So instead of needing to make 6 walls all at once, it'll let you just make one, and it'll only use up 1 block. So it saves you some materials and shows you what's available for all these other blocks that have all the other cool recipes. And there's the crafting recipe, by the way. So yeah, and kind of a nice little animation too. So I like it. And here we have the Lectern, which is a way of displaying written books, and so people can read them without having to have them in their inventory. And there's the crafting recipe for it. Does interact with redstone in a lot of interesting ways. I won't go into it in too much detail, but also should mention that the composter also interacts with the comparator based on what level it is on, and it is also a movable block, so it makes it pretty flexible for redstone stuff. And here's the Grindstone, which kind of an interesting looking block. You can have it hanging down or attached to itself. Here's the crafting recipe for that. And what that does is it repairs things, sort of the way we used to be able to do things like do that in our crafting bench or in our own little inventory crafting bench. You have to use a grindstone to do that now. And then you can also disenchant items. So it'll take the enchant off of it, and it'll give you a little bit of experience. One note, I was sort of disappointed to see that it will not allow you to take curses off of things. So that's a little bit of a bummer. But I don't know how much I'm going to use it functionality, but I think it's an interesting block to use for decor. So yeah, that's one of the new ones. And then just this last week, they introduced us to the Wandering Trader and their llama buddies, which are super cute. These guys, oh, you can ride them. Yeah, I should have known that. They come with their own little decoration like that. And the Wandering Trader offers a bunch of different interesting trades, including coral blocks, all the saplings, all the flowers, all the dyes, and slime balls. Right now, it seems like once you've used up the trades, they do not reset. So I'm hoping we'll find some way of convincing more of them to come around, or some way to reset their trades, because some of those trades are super useful. But yeah, really nice. I like the llamas, and another little rare thing to look for in your world. Which leaves just the fletching table and the smithing table as the two things we don't know functionality for. I'm guessing more specialized crafting, maybe showing you what recipes are available. But I think we have done it. I think I've shown you most of the blocks, all the blocks we know so far, and most of the major features anyway. But I hope you have enjoyed. This is kind of a long one. I hope you're still with me. You still there? Let me know. And I hope you have enjoyed. But until next time, it's been Riggs. And I'll see you soon. Hope you guys are having a great day. And I love you. Bye-bye.